This is the second video on solving equations. These are a little bit harder than the ones that we looked at in the first one. We've got fractions here. We've got a common denominator of 12, which would eliminate all of these fractions. I always find it easiest with equations if I get rid of the fractions right at the beginning. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply by 12 because that's a common denominator for 4, 6, and 3. 4 into 12 then goes 3. You got to remember how to do this. So you can go 6 into 12 is 2, times 5 is 10, or if you wish to multiply the 12 times 5 first and get 60, divided by 6 again is 10. Here 3 into 12 goes 4 times, and 4 times 2 is 8. And now we've got a relatively simple equation to work with. Just add the x's together, divide by 13, and we've got 8/13. So I would suggest getting rid of the fractions because you can always do whatever you want to both sides. As long as you follow that rule, you should be okay. Here again, I'm going to multiply by 6. The 2 into the 6 goes 3 times, and the 3 into 6 there goes twice. Actually, there's a shortcut you can use here if you wish. If you have one fraction on each side, you can do something called cross multiply. You can multiply the 3 times this expression, which gives you this, and the 2 times that expression, which gives you that. That works every time there's just one fraction on each side. But remember, we're still doing the same thing to both sides, multiplying by 6. Then bring the number into the brackets, 3x plus 6, 2x minus 2. Like in the first video, you just move the terms around, move this over here, make it negative 2x, move this to the other side, make it negative 6, and simplify, and you've got the answer to that equation. Here's another one with decimals. Again, you might as well get rid of the decimals right at the beginning. This one has 2 decimal places, so I'm going to multiply everything by 100. If I do that, this will become 23x. This will move 2 places. Remember, I'm multiplying by 100, so it becomes 150. 2 places here, that will be a 20. And then once again, move the 20x to the left side, make it negative. Move this over as a negative. Simplify the x's, divide by 3, and we've got negative 50. Here's an unusual looking equation. I've got variables on the bottom, but it's actually quite simple to solve if you use this technique of multiplying every term by the common denominator. In this case, I'm going to multiply everybody by 3x. Looks kind of messy, but what happens is, for example, here this x will divide into the 3x, leaving just a 3 in front. These 3 x's will cancel. I could write a 1 there just to remind myself that there is a 1 in front of that bracket. And don't forget over here too, this has to be multiplied by 3x as well. You've got to keep the balance all the time. Now I'll simplify by bringing the 3 into the bracket. Don't forget to bring this negative into the bracket as well. Whenever I used to mark these, when I had a class of papers to mark, if I had a question like this, the most common error I found was always that sign right there, because there were 2 terms on top of that bracket. It's almost like I used to call it a bar bracket because it had the same effect as having a bracket around it. And that plus 2 eventually will pick up the negative sign, which is out in front. Simplifying this, the x's disappear from this side, and we get negative 11. Equals 33x. Then dividing by 33, we get x equals 1/3. After I wrote this down, I thought, my gosh, there's a lot of 3's. Actually, there's 27 3's in that question, which is kind of bizarre because 27 is a multiple of 3 as well. Okay, one last example. I want to show you 2 ways to do an equation like this. One way is to multiply the 8 into the bracket. 8x minus 24 equals 40. Move the 24 over as plus, add them together, and that gives us an answer of 8. A slightly simpler way of doing a question like this is to immediately divide both sides by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1, so all you've got is x minus 3. and 40 divided by 8 is 5. Move the 3 over, and again the answer is 8. You can find that many times there will be more than one way to solve an equation, and you just want to look for the easiest way to get the job done.